Good morning, friends. Happy Sunday. Happy New Year's Eve. I cannot believe this is our last day of 2023 because wow, how fast did that go by? I remember when I was younger, older folks used to say to me, oh, time goes faster the older you get. And it definitely happened this year where it feels like it was just January 1st of this year. And here we are starting a new year tomorrow. But an incredible thing that New Year's Eve is on a Sunday and New Year's Day is on a Monday, because we've got a new day, a new week, and a new year all at the same time. You talk about the ultimate reset. We've got it for 2024. So I am really excited to move forward and charge 2024 to make it a year that I can absolutely conquer and be very, very proud of. I have been thinking the last few days about 2023 and the things that happened in order to do this video, my year in review. And it's pretty humbling, I guess I can say, the things that occurred in 2023. We had a lot of high highs and we had a lot of low lows in this year, but ultimately every experience that we had was an opportunity for growth. It was an opportunity to move forward. It was an opportunity to better ourselves, not just me, my husband as well. And it's those types of things and that type of growth and mindset change that I didn't have 2-3 years ago. I would, dwell on the past. I would wallow in sadness and self-pity. And now I see that negative things that happen, challenges that are put in our place aren't necessarily a bad thing, because it's how we look at it and how we approach the situation and then how we navigate from there that truly matters. And I learned a lot in 2023. January, February of this year were pretty busy for me because I was finishing up my primal health coach courses. I was getting certified as a primal health coach through PCHI. My mom was still living with us. We were preparing for home renovations. And on top of all of that, in the first week of February, my father-in-law, who had been diagnosed as being in remission from his B-cell lymphoma in January, was then readmitted to the hospital, and his cancer was back, and it was back with a vengeance. So the first 3 to 4 months of this year were really kind of a blur because there was a lot going on. A lot personally, a lot professionally, and a lot emotionally. In March, my mom moved out of our house, and about a week later, the home renovations began, which this room that's right behind me that I'm sitting in, that was part of the renovations, was closing in our garage, expanding our bedroom, our bathroom, our closet, and then getting me an office to be able to have for work, because I work from home, and also for my coaching business, so that I had my little sanctuary of health, I guess you can say. I decorate it for every season. It is very peaceful in here. I keep it a really happy place for me. So if this is something that you need in your life, even if it's just a corner somewhere that you can clear out and make your own, do it. Because the stress level that I have this year is nothing compared to what I've had in the past. And that's with working half of the year sharing an office with my husband. I say sharing an office, it was actually his game room. So we often had occasions in the afternoons where he would be sitting behind me in his game room playing his games, and I was sitting at my desk working. And it just got to be a lot. But it was an experience, and I'm glad we went through it because we honestly helped each other out in that aspect, because he helped me to be able to focus more by literally sitting behind me playing a video game. And I helped him to be more cognizant of the fact that there's somebody else in here while you are shooting people, and you keep spurting things out every 35 seconds while I'm trying to work. So yeah, it ended up being a lesson for us, and we both, benefited from having to share a room together for about 4 months. April was our month of highs and lows. My Lots of family birthdays take place in April. I've got my mom. 1 week later, I've got my husband. My sister's in there. My sister-in-law is in there, a very close family friend. And we also received the news at the beginning of April that my father-in-law's cancer was terminal. So we had to kind of come to terms with that, prepare ourselves, and again, grow from what was inevitably going to take place. We helped my father-in-law as much as we could. We were fighting that cancer until literally the day before he died. And I think he was just ready. He spent lots and lots of time with us. My husband was with him almost every single day for 2 months. He would go to the hospital every day after work. When he was moved to the rehab facility, we were there every single day. I was there twice a day because I would take him lunch and then we would take him dinner. And we got so much quality time with that man that when he died, it wasn't traumatic to me because we had an amazing final 2 months with that man. He told us stories that neither of us knew. And I mean, granted, I've been involved in this family for 18 years, but I was much, much closer with my father-in-law than I ever was with my dad, my biological father, because I spent more time in 18 years. Yes, I am not kidding. I spent more time in 18 years with my father-in-law than I did with my real dad, because I lived 2,000 miles away from him for most of my life. So my father-in-law and I had this incredible bond. My husband and my father-in-law were essentially best friends, and my husband learned so much from his dad that he has through the years been passing on to our son. But to see the relationship the two of them had and the love that was there between the two of them, and again, approaching the situation that we knew that we were going to lose him and preparing ourselves mentally and emotionally. It hurt. It was absolutely devastating the morning that he did pass away. But we were at peace because he was finally at peace. And that's something that I will carry with me, is that he had the opportunity to process, and we had the opportunity to process. And it didn't make the actual act of losing him that much easier, but at the same time it did, because we were prepared and we had no regrets. And that was the one thing I told my husband: I do not want you to have a single regret when your dad passes, because I want you to have every second with him that you can. And that's exactly what he did. So while April was, again, full of highs and lows, it actually started off our May then, even though it was a sad occasion because it was the burial of my father-in-law, our surrogate daughter from Las Vegas, who we refer to her as our daughter. We refer to her children as our grandchildren. She was our son's babysitter from the time he was 5 years old until he was about 10. And she would spend entire summers with us. And she just became a part of our family. And her family became like family to us as well. And they were actually very open and appreciative of the relationship that we have with her and the bond that we still have with her and her kids. So at the burial that we had, for my father-in-law, it was out of town. We went up to the mountains. We stayed in this beautiful cabin. It was just a really peaceful, serene weekend to do something that was basically closing the final chapter in my father-in-law's life. And she came down with her then boyfriend and the kids to say goodbye to my father-in-law and to be there for my husband, and because she knows how much joy the kids bring to him. It was actually that weekend that she and her now fiance set a date for their wedding. So that ended the weekend with a very, very high because yes, we said goodbye to my father-in-law. We placed him in his final resting place, but we have a new chapter starting with her getting married, and it's going to be on April 21st of next year. So we added another happy occasion to the month of April when we hit 2024. And that's something I'm really looking forward to. June started our insane summer of travel because we traveled more this year than I think we have like our entire marriage. And it started with the low carb cruise. And it was our first cruise together. It was my first, and of course his first low carb cruise. We didn't know what to expect, but it was an incredible, incredible week. We met people that we had been watching online for a few years. I finally got to connect with Bronson, who ultimately became my mentor, and Natalie as well, because I look up to her as much as I do Bronson, and the two of them have really shaped the kind of coach that I have become. I started my coaching career in May of 23, and I actually had to do check-ins on my clients while I was on the cruise ship. So that kind of all meshes together for me, because what an experience to have, and how much fun it was to sit on the balcony of the cruise ship and type in feedback to my clients. So much fun. So we did our cruise. We had an amazing time on the cruise. We did all the different excursions we did. We experienced so many things that we've never experienced before. We listened to incredible speakers on the low carb cruise as far as conference days. And it was a real rejuvenation for the both of us with how the beginning of the year kind of was for us and how heavy it seemed to be, and time-consuming things, and just additional pressure that we had on both of us with personal and professional things. It was a great, great break from reality for a while. So then we came home in June from the low carb cruise, and then in July, we flew out to Washington, D.C., toured D.C. I had never been to the East Coast ever in my life. So we toured D.C. for a couple of days, got a chance to meet up with my best friend since kindergarten, who I hadn't seen, I think, since my wedding. So like 16 years had been, but it didn't even feel like a week or two had gone by. It's one of those friendships where you can just catch back up and keep on going. So then we got to go up to Baltimore and attend Bronson and Natalie's inaugural conference, which was Antithetic 2023. And again, met more incredible people. I finally got to meet Maria Emmerich. I am such a huge fan of hers. She is a huge part of the reason why my husband has done keto, is because of the recipes she has created that I then am able to make for him. And he doesn't feel like he's missing out on some of his favorites that he's had throughout the years. Also met people in person that I have been friends with online or that I follow online. And it was just a really fun, chill, layback, but also educational weekend. And so that was a lot of fun to do, kind of back-to-back conferences. And so we thought we were done for the rest of the year with conferences until it was either late June or early July that I received a message from Debbie Hubbs, who is in charge of the low carb cruise. And she and Kathy, I guess, just really liked me. Liked my personality, liked my demeanor, just liked me when they met me on the cruise. And they actually invited me to become a member of the Low Carb Cruise Committee, which, number one, shocked the heck out of me because what? I don't have experience with this stuff. But Heck yeah, that sounds like so much fun. And it's been an absolute blast. And the really exciting part was when they asked me if I would like to share my story on the 2024 low carb cruise, which I can't wait. I cannot wait to be able to let people know my journey, back from when I was a child all the way up through today, because you want to talk about doing this. Holy, I've done this. Woo! I've been all over the place. So if my story is able to help any other person, I will absolutely share it and get even into deeper conversation with them after the fact if they choose, because it's not easy to do what I did. I know that. And I'm still not even done. So I want to make sure that people realize that, yes, this is something you can do. No, this is not a linear process. Yes, we go all over the place. We have our highs, we have our lows, we have our speed bumps, we have our plateaus. But as long as we keep trucking along, ultimately we're going to succeed. August and September were kind of okay. We had things that we still had to do, but for the most part, we were able to kind of relax. Kinda. I had increased my clientele to, I think, 7 or 8 during that time. So my coaching business really ramped up. And I was spending a lot more time focusing on that, helping people, doing lots of research. I have read more this year than I think I have since I was in middle school or high school, and I was forced to read to do book reports. This is reading I actually want to do because I enjoy learning. I enjoy the fact that I can teach and help others with issues that they may be having. And it's also helping me in the process because I am able to look at my own journey, my own health, my labs, my, what I am doing, and make changes that might need to be done myself along with helping my clients. So we're all kind of doing this at the same time just to see how it works, not only for me, but for them. Because the stance I take with my clients is N equals 1. What works for me isn't necessarily going to work for you. What worked for you may not work for them. And what worked for them may not work for me. But if we don't try, we can't say anything. In September, Bronson and I had been doing the boot camp for about 4 months. And he presented me with the opportunity to essentially take over as the head coach of the F2 Method Bootcamp, which I honestly had to think about and consider because I was just getting my feet wet as a health coach. And then he's presenting me with the opportunity to take over an entire program. So that again has instilled in me more confidence. It has definitely broadened my knowledge, not just what I learned with being a health coach, but also digging more into the other aspects of health and how much mindset is a huge, huge factor in your weight loss journey, your fitness journey, your health journey, period. So I did take over as the head coach in September. It's been fantastic. I have loved every single second of it. I adore taking care of these clients, helping them on their journeys, really helping them dig down deep and go through and rectify issues that they have had that I have also experienced myself. And in doing that, it's really brought a lot more self-reflection onto me with my own journey and seeing things that I still do need to work on and change in my own life. So again, we're all doing this together. It is always an ongoing thing, and it is growth and it is necessary. Now, October was a month of madness for us because we had our son's best friend's wedding. The following weekend, we did our normal trip to Vegas to take our grandkids to a ranch that we do every single October. Usually it's the first week of October, but we had a wedding. The weekend after that, we traveled to Louisville, Kentucky, where we attended Keto-Palooza, which again, what a fantastic weekend. What a chance to be able to meet some of the best in the industry and also catch up and meet people that I've been following or that I've been friends with online in person after 2-3 years. It was so much fun. That was probably one of the best weekends I have ever had in my life. And it was for a keto conference. But what a great weekend it was. The weekend after we got back from Louisville, I actually ended up sick. I have not been sick since January of 22. So that kind of was a little kick in the gut to me there because, I don't get sick anymore. And then shortly after that, I got shingles again. I got shingles for the first time in 2020, and I've had them every year since. So, yeah, you want to talk about what stress does to your body? Your girl can show you exactly what stress does to your body. I also started a new program with Natalie Grasso. It was her build program. I got through about halfway, and I kind of had to let go of some things because the end of the year is a very, very stressful time for me. Somewhat personally, mostly professionally. It's very, very intense at work the last few months of the year. I had a lot of clientele that I was working with. We had holidays and anniversaries and birthdays and all the stuff going on. And so I did allow myself some grace. I did not want to overdo things, trigger another issue with the shingles, and just really focus on other aspects of my health and my journey, which was mostly mental at this point. That doesn't mean I stopped working out completely, but I did not go as hard as I did at the beginning of the program. Again, I gave myself some grace because I knew I kind of had to step back and reevaluate what could stay and what could go and what I kind of had to let go of. That doesn't mean that I stopped with my self-care. A lot of people, their self-care is their workouts, is their exercise. I do other things for my self-care as well. So it's not just exercise. I still have my walking pad right here in my office that I use daily. I go outside and I did stuff around the yard. My husband and I have really cleared out our front yard. So that's been doing movement and exercise for me. We've been building the walls in the shop and hanging cabinets and doing all sorts of lifting and stepping and climbing on ladders and things like that. So I didn't give up on exercise altogether, but I took a step back and gave myself the grace that I needed to be able to continue on without overstressing my system. Because I am one of those people that a hard workout will trigger a massive cortisol spike. And that is actually what also led to me getting shingles again in November between all of the traveling that we did in October and the intense workouts that I was doing with Nat in October, November. That's what I believe triggered my shingles. And so I am aware and I am cognizant, and I am not going to allow that to happen to myself again right before the holidays. November was our anniversary, Thanksgiving. Then we had December, which is my birthday. The following weekend was the actual birthday present for me, which was the Stevie Nicks and Billy Joel concert. Then we flew to Vegas the next day for my office holiday party. We came back. We had just fun things that we had planned, light parades, going and seeing lights, um, shopping for the holidays. And then, of course, we had Christmas, and now here we're coming to New Year's. So we don't do the giant family things anymore. There is conflict within my husband's family, and that's who's down here in Arizona with us. So that honestly isn't something that I am super sad about, because it was always stressful. It was chaotic. It was loud. It wasn't terribly fun. So we do our own thing now. We do Friendsgiving before the weekend, usually the weekend before Thanksgiving. We'll do our Friendsgiving. And we've done that 9 years in a row now, which is people that we choose to be around. And it is so much fun. And it's not too busy. It's relaxing. Yes, I do a lot of cooking beforehand, but it's also a potluck. So I'm not having to do everything. But it's just nice. And it's laid back. And we can watch football and we can have conversations. And it's wonderful. Well, our Christmas this year was somewhat similar. We had my husband, myself, and my mom came down. Of course, our son came over, and then a coworker of my husband's who doesn't have any family here. He usually comes to most of our holiday celebrations to be around somebody. So again, 5 people, I can handle that. It's not a whole lot of cooking. It's just fun, and it's not chaotic. And I'm not one of those people. I used to think I thrived on stress and chaos, and then I realized it was killing me. So take a detour, fix it, and do what you need to do to take care of you, which is what we've done. So the last year and a half or so has been much more mellow and laid back when it comes to holidays, just because we're doing things on our own. And you know what? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And that brings us to New Year's Eve. Here we are. We've made it through a full year. So like I said, we had high highs, we had low lows, we had a lot of in-betweens, but every opportunity that we experienced, everything that we experienced was a chance for us to be able to grow and to strengthen ourselves. My husband and I think our marriage is stronger now than it ever has been. We definitely show more appreciation towards each other. We definitely show more love towards each other. And not that we ever really kind of, hid things or were covert about it, but we take the steps to show each other how much we love and how much we appreciate. And another positive that came from my father-in-law passing away is the relationship between my husband and our son. They spend more time together. They are more intentional about getting together with each other instead of schedules just being too busy to be able to do it. When our son is busy coaching football, we go to his games and we watch the high schoolers that he coaches. Even though we don't really know any of the kids on the team, we're there to support him and to be able to spend some time with him. He comes over, even though he has a completely backwards schedule, opposite schedule than we do, working nights. He still will come over, even if it's at 6 o'clock in the morning, just to spend some time with us before he goes to bed. And that's probably the most beautiful thing that we have experienced this year is our family, like our immediate family, really coming together and discovering how much we love and care for each other. And here I go getting emotional. But again, I absolutely think that's my father-in-law coming to us and letting us know, hey guys, remember, these are the important things. So not to end my video with tears, but here we go, getting all emotional, because it's a beautiful, positive thing that came from a sad occasion, but it was something that, again, it's growth in all 3 of us. So I am eternally grateful for that. So everybody have a very safe and happy New Year's. If you are going to go out and party tonight, please be careful. If you're drinking, please have a designated driver. Please don't overdo it. Don't think that, because it's New Year's Eve, that it's a time that you get to just go ape shit and do whatever you want to do, because trust me, you're going to regret it the next day. But have a fantastic Sunday, rest of your Sunday. Happy New Year's, and I will see you guys in 2024.